I'm out just off the Gold Coast fishing some of the shallow reefs here, and it's pelagic season, which means there's a whole raft of predators cruising past the coastline chasing bait. There's lots of ways to catch them. You can drift pillies for them, you can troll hard-bodied lures, you can do all sorts of things, but today we're trolling bait. So we've gone out really early this morning, couldn't show you because it was in the dark, it wasn't that exciting. We caught our string of live baits, we've got 10 fish kicking around in the back live well, and now the aim is to troll those at different depths in the water column, see if we can G up some of the local predators. I'm out with one of the local young guns. He's going to show me what he's been doing lately to catch a few. Stick around, I reckon it's going to be pretty good.
Should take a run by now.
First light, we've got the Gold Coast in the background. I'm out with one of the local gurus, mate, the young guns, Jaden. He spends his time trolling baits around the shallow reefs, and well, the deeper reefs for that matter as well, but a lot of time in these inshore reefs chasing all form of pelagics. It's an exciting time of year when they start cruising past chasing these herds of bait fish with the spring and summer currents. And if you do it right, you're in for a lot of fun. He's come here to teach an old dog a few tricks, hopefully. We'll get this one in the boat. Come here. Mate, there's the 6 o'clock to Sydney out of the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
And I'd much rather be here playing with these yellowfin on baits, mate. It's,
Yeah, it's sort of took real slow to start with, just act like sort of dead weight, and then saw the boat, it sort of
decided
realised
to have a bit of a play up, and it was a bit of a surprise. We thought, is that bait getting nervous? And then the rod started bending up. Didn't actually take drag for a while until Jaden said, hang on mate, I got ya. And you're coming to me, aren't they? Magnificent fish, and a lot of guys chase them on skirts and hard body lures, but
yeah,
they grab a bait. Sweet, that's a start. All right mate, we're off the mark. I like it. Well, the rain scores have kicked through, which is pretty typical in Queensland in summertime. Beautiful 1 minute, bucketing the next. In the meantime, surface bait we've had's been absolutely drilled, and Jaden's working hard. That's what he bought you for, mate. Bit of young enthusiasm. There you go, mate.
Yeah, all right.
Having fun?
Yeah.
Better than school. Today we're using the new range of the Live Fiver Texalium Wilson's rods. This is the 8 to 30 kilo model. She's pretty grunty. It's a really good rod to be trolling these live baits with, both on the downrigger and up high, because you've got so much low down grunt strength, but you've got a fairly tippy rod up the top, which lets you sort of finesse those live baits a bit, and fish can come onto them without necessarily feeling the brunt of the rod straight away. Oh, we did it the hard way, mate. The good fighters are the best at times, but when you wind it back sideways,
Yeah.
do it tough. Still a beautiful fish, mate. That's a bit chunkier than the last one.
Yeah.
They're getting bigger. Once again, he's eating that yakka that we've been trolling up on the surface line. Giving you a bit of a workout, mate.
Yeah, I was hoping for a cobes then, but
When you wind tuning back sideways, they start becoming all sorts of other things. But anyway, he's a great fish. Jaden, how's that? Crashed. Finally the downrigger bomb. Been annihilated. Which is interesting because it was around the tide turn and we'd seen a lot of bait activity up the top, and it all went a little bit quiet. A lot of the guys that were trolling around us have all anchored up and they're drifting baits. We put a downrigger down to 18 metres and we're fishing in 20, 21 metres. So we've got a bait right down sneaking along the bottom, and that's where the sound has been showing a few arches popping up. And we've tempted something. We've tempted a bit of rain as well, ducking in between little squalls coming through at the moment. But you never mind getting wet when you're getting bites and catching fish. It's a really nice outfit to be doing this on. It's 8 to 15 kilo Texalium from the Wilson stable, loaded with 15 kilo platypus mono. And the only thing now between us and the fish, there's no weight because of the use of the downrigger. We've just got a little 2 hook, there we go, get a bit cranky. Little 2-hook mustard rig, bit of wire, stop the bite-offs. And a rigged yak has been whacked. You'll notice the action of this rod. It's pretty stiff to about that 3/4 point of the rod, and then you've got a really nice soft tip. And when you're fighting fish like this, it becomes invaluable because I've got plenty of authority down the bottom. I can turn a fish around, but if that fish suddenly turns around like those runs he's just given me now, or throws head shakes, all that pressure gets absorbed and that nice soft tip. They're very well designed to help you get fish into the boat, both in power and sensitivity. It's a really nice balance. And so much in fishing is about balance. You get your balance right, you catch more fish. Fish is pretty much doing its thing now. It's a case of just not going too hard on the drag. We've got it pretty well set using the Shimano Tolika 20. This is very well matched reel to use with these Texaliums. It's 8 to 15 kegger. You just want, you want to absorb any sudden move that the fish has with regards to head shake or a sudden run. You just don't want it to be too abrupt on the tackle. And you got to watch things. Here we go. He's going to wake up a bit here. Never like the look of the boat and you, so they always sometimes save a bit for that just at the end, and that's when it's really imperative that you got your drag setting right. You just don't go too hard on them and don't give them enough flex, and that's the beauty of using the mono too. You've got that added stretch, but you still don't want to go too hard on them. Oh, that magnificent fish coming up. Nice Spaniard. Here we go. He's going to go into the boat. Another really nice factor with these rods is they've got a bit of length about them. And when you are in a small trailer boat like we are today, 5.5 metre boat, you sometimes got to do a bit of ducking and weaving around your motor and under the boat. You really just don't want your line to be touching the hard stuff. So if you've got a rod with a bit of length, it just allows you to steer fish and keep that line away from props and boats. Saves you a lot of lost fish in the long run. Lovely, JD. There's the result. Getting your bait down the right depth where these guys are hunting. So much about picking whether they're up high or low, and the beauty about what we've done today is we've covered the water column. We've had that bait up high, and we've also had the downrigger down, looking at the sounder, working out where we're seeing arches and getting it down. In that case, 18 metres of water in a 20 to 21 metre deep reef. So the downrigger, very important tool. You want to get live baits down to these guys. And isn't he a magnificent fish? They do get a lot bigger than that, but they all account for themselves really well. And if you are going to eat them, mate, I'm a big fan. I reckon this is about the best eating size.
Yeah, perfect.
And that's where he's going today. You and me, barbecue at your house. You're a local, you can show me the local recipes, mate. That's well worth the effort of getting a bit wet and getting up the belly. The rig we're using to set up these liveys for towing behind the boat is very simple. We've got obviously a length, start with a length of single strand using 60 pound, and to attach your hooks, it's a case of just wrapping that wire around 10 times and then cutting it fine, and that will hold any hook you put in place. Now, the top of the bait is obviously our mustard 3.0, big red. Okay, that's what we use to pin through the nose of the bait, and then we use a treble to secure the back of the bait. Usually around the belly to the tail of the bait is where we want that to sit, and it's surprising how often fish will come up, and that's 90% of the time you're going to find that your fish are getting hooked on that, which is one of the reasons why we haven't got a lead bit of wire at the front. I have fished like that before, but you tend to find that on sometimes quite a lot of days you'll find that tends to put the fish down a little bit. So you may risk the odd bite off by getting your mono straight to that top red hook, but you typically get a lot more bites fishing a rig like that. And the only other variation that we can use to that is to sometimes put a floating treble, which we've got attached to this rod at the back here. So there's the options on the rig, very simple but very effective. Well, mate, we've talked through the rig that we're using.
Yeah.
You want to show me a funky way of rigging these guys up so we can catch a fish on it?
It's not really too hard, it's just pretty simple. You just get front hook.
Yep. Nostril.
In between the nostrils.
Yep. So let him keep breathing while you troll him. All right. Secure that. I'll hold that for you. We've obviously matched the rig to the bait.
To the length.
Yep. So he's going to be well fitted. And then
And just
treble.
make sure you have a bit of slack in your wire. Just
Pin him in the back. Now we keep slacking the wire so that when the rig's tight, everything lies nice and straight. Okay, so nose rig, bit of wire,
pretty simple.
mustard ultra point
Yeah.
pinned in the back, and now test the boat.
Yeah.
So if you're good, you just put it next to the boat and
Yeah, or just swim it.
I've got my bait rigged and it's swimming nicely through the water. Now, Jaden set out the surface line on the other side, 30, 40 metres back. What I'm going to do now is do exactly the same thing. I'm going to let this bait back same distance, 30 to 40 metres, and then when it's out, then I want to rig everything up to my downrigger bomb and get it down to the depth where I'm seeing some bait and fish sanding on the fish finder. So the bait's far enough behind the boat now. Going to mount that rod in the rod holder. Now this is an important part of connecting my line to my downrigger catch. What I want to do is just run a few twists through that line and rig that loop into the catch on the downrigger bomb. And what that does is it prevents line twisting itself around the catch, and that means then when you get a strike you're not going to have a foul up of the line and a break off. So once I'm happy I've got that, I'm now going to come to my release catch. I'm going to push that loop about a centimetre or so into it and clamp it. I've got now a firm grip, but obviously not too tight so fish can pull that out when it hits. Now it's a case of getting my bomb out, dropping it down to the depth that I want it. Today we're using the Canon Unitrol and it's nice and convenient. It's pretty manually operated. Once I've released it, I can then slowly feed that down to a depth and it's telling me the metre increments as that bomb goes down. The other thing I want to do is just slightly reduce the drag on my reel, so as I let this out, it's actually going to start feeding line off the reel and it's not going to then pull my line connection out that I've already just put into the catch. And out we go, and I'm slowly just watching my metre here, down to 7, 8 metres. I've been seeing some fish holding and patches of bait around that 15 to 20 metre mark, so I'm going to put this down to 18 metres and hopefully get my bait right in amongst the action. 14 metres, 15, 16, 17 and 18 metres. Clamp that off. I don't want too much of a belly in that mono between the rod tip and the catch, so make sure everything's tight. Once you're all in action, sit back, let Jaden drive and wait for the sound of line getting ripped out of a downrigger catch. When you're towing your baits behind, all we're doing at the moment is trolling basically as slowly as this motor's going to let us go. It's a very, very slow walking speed if I had to describe it in a nice easy layman's terms. And if you are out there and you have got a boat that doesn't like idling too slowly, you will see some guys that troll baits a lot just kick their boat in and out of gear just to make sure those baits are just ticking along and looking a lot like just an injured meal that's easy grab speed for any mackerel that's cruising by. What we are doing a lot of though is keeping an eye on the sounder and also visual signs of birds and bait, just trying to pick up the best trolling lines possible. Wherever we are seeing bait at a certain depth on the sounder, because we've got the downrigger at the back, it's really easy for us just to adjust and hopefully hook up, just like we have. On that trolling run, we came across a really nice ball of bait and we're able to run that downrigger pretty well at the base of it. And it's interesting that we had a surface bait out and we had the downrigger beneath the bait ball, and the one that got cracked was the downrigger, and it looks like it's a really good fish. So, you know, quite often we see predators like your mackerel and your tuna feeding on top, but 80% of their time they're feeding down deep. And if you don't have a tool like a downrigger on board, you're putting yourself out of the running for hooking a lot of those better fish that are sometimes eating or spending the majority of their time feeding down deep. So use of your sounder, use of your eyes for current lines, where birds might be sitting up high, they all tell you where you got to fish. Then it's a case of once you've hit your spot, look what your sounder's telling you, and make sure you've got a bait up top and down below as well. Cover all your bases, get it right, winding in fish. Well, someone is anyway. The quicker one in the boat. What is that? The spanner? Yeah, pig Spaniard. Nice, take your time there, mate.
Yeah.
Oh yes, look at that. Well done, mate. That's well deserved.
Thanks.
We've persevered with the weather. It's been well worth the effort. Just by fishing baits through that water column, some deep, some high. Obviously looking at the structure and working the bait and being smart about it, we've come up with the goods. There you go, mate. Happy with that?
Yeah, stoked.
Me too.
It's Bill Klassen here from The Fishing Show, and if you like this instructional video and want to learn more, it's simple. Go to fishingshowtv.com.au and see a whole host of additional videos.